Hi guys, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. This one is for Monday the 8th of April going through until Sunday the 14th of April 2024. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. As always, I'm going to go through each day of the week first to see what the planets are doing and how they interact. The thinking behind these horoscopes is if we get a sense of the energy that the planets create, we'll get a sense of how they're going to impact us. So I'll go through each day of the week to see what that says, and then I'll go through each sign of the zodiac from Aries through to Pisces to give you a specific message for your sign of the zodiac. So what I noticed about this week is that there's this back and forth between youthful optimism and the willingness to take a risk versus wisdom and experience and this greater sense of, hey, you tried this before, it didn't work. Why on earth would you try it again? So both kind of reasonings can apply. Sometimes trying again does work. And at other times, you know, if you've attempted something like 15 times and it's never worked out, it may be a good idea to move on. So that's going to be a theme here this week, I feel. And also we have Mercury, the communication planet, in retrograde. So when Mercury is retrograde, the plus side of that is that you are able to see things differently and you're able to kind of operate outside of your box as a result of that different perspective, right? So if anything new comes along this week, consider that there may be something in it. So starting on Monday, the 8th of April, we have the total solar eclipse. That's also a new moon in Aries, and that happens in my time zone, Central European time, at 7:20. I made a separate video on this because the eclipses, and this eclipse particularly, they're really significant because the energies can be felt for about 6 months. So in that video, I go through all the influences that the planets create, but also in the description of that video, I've put a link to the NASA website. And if you put it, because the eclipse, you can see if you're in North America, right? So if you're in North America, you can put your zip code in and it'll show you exactly when the eclipse will happen for you. And if you do get a chance to watch this, please make some time because it's a wonderful experience. So we've got that happening. We also have the moon forming a conjunction with Chiron, the wounded healer, the sun, which is the identity that you're striving towards, and Mercury, the communication planet, and all three of those are in Aries. And Aries also is a very youthful sign. I was thinking about this while I was writing this horoscope. You know, the signs of the zodiac, they do go from Aries to Pisces, right? So you could argue that Aries is very youthful and it's all about the new. Taurus are the first action steps. Gemini is, you know, the first time you make sense of something for yourself or you articulate something in a unique way. And then by the time you get to the later signs, so we've got what? Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, you could say that the pace is slower, and a lot of the signs, and the moon particularly, it moves through these first three signs of the zodiac this week. So Monday, it's this eclipse in Aries, and then later on in the week, it moves into Taurus and Gemini. So it's all about beginnings. It's about trying something different. So Chiron in Aries is going to say, pursue things on your own in order to feel better. Mercury is going to say, your opinion and your viewpoint is very, very important. So don't budge from that and stick to it. And the sun in Aries simply says, go, 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 pursue something. You have a lot of energy, channel it into kind of making forward movement. And the sun then in Aries also conjuncts Chiron in Aries. So I mentioned this in the video on the eclipse, but it's really about looking at yourself and your identity and seeing where it's at with that. So if you'd like more information on the eclipse, I think it's really empowering and supercharging and really a great opportunity to adapt and to make changes for the future. So have a look at that. But overall on Monday, on the day in itself, I think the way it'll appear and translate is that you are really motivated and you want to get going with some particular area of your life. So a good question to ask would be, you know, what would be the most fulfilling thing for me to pursue if I attain this, or if I made progress in that area, or if I shifted over here, what would that feel like? So the biggest dream, if that were to come true, what would that feel like? So on Monday, even though it's all this fire and it's kind of pushing you into action, I think it's a good day for meditation and kind of for journaling. Because the way I also see the eclipse is the sun in your natal chart is the identity that you would like to embody, right? It's what feels empowering and it feels attractive, and that's the area you gravitate towards. And with that being blacked out for 4.5 minutes, it's almost like getting a break from your own identity, from your own personality, so that something bigger can do its own thinking without being influenced by the personality, if you know what I mean by that. And you can really get to some core truths. It's kind of like having some distance for yourself, or having a different perspective, which is where the Mercury retrograde that we're in until the 25th of April is actually really useful and helpful. So if you are able to kind of do that, or what I think is like the eclipse in itself is going to be a meditative kind of moment, because 4.5 minutes, if you're out there experiencing it, so the things that appear to you during that dusk period, pay attention to those. There may be info in that that's significant for the next 6 months. And if you get the sense that, hey, this is really interesting, I'm really motivated by that, then trust it and see what you can do with it over the next 6 months. So then on Tuesday, the moon goes, Tuesday the 9th of April, the moon goes into Taurus at 1:23 in the afternoon. And that's a really nice shift, because if Aries, the new moon in Aries, pulls in all this fire energy that says move forward, go up, go for it, then Taurus is an earth sign that's actually able to contain all of that energy and to channel it and to express it in a consistent, useful, productive way. So Tuesday immediately is more about now putting things into practice, taking action. And the Taurus moon then also squares Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto is transformation and change, death and rebirth. It's the phoenix. It's the rebirth of ideas, I really feel. So with friction between the moon in Taurus and Pluto in Aquarius, as you're doing things, you'll be able to access the right information as you need it, and you'll be inspired as you go. So the key thing on Tuesday is about momentum and getting things done. So because the pace has really picked up via the eclipse the day before, I think that you can make a lot of progress on Tuesday when it comes to any work or finance related aspects of your life. So a great day to get things squared off, or to get back on top of things if you've fallen behind, so to play catch up a little bit. Also, if you find that procrastination is an issue for you sometimes, it'll really be minimized on Tuesday the 9th. So if you struggle with that, not going to be much of an issue. So it's a good day to try and, get organized. Wednesday, the 10th of April, we have the Taurus moon forming a conjunction with Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus. So we've got tons of Earth here, so still very practical. And it sextiles Mars and Saturn in Pisces. And that's very different. I see Mars is the red planet of drive and ambition, and it's a personal planet, right? So it affects us personally. Depending on where your Mars is in your birth chart, really shows the area that you care about the most, where you have the greatest ambition and where you want to get somewhere in this area, right? And Saturn is about structure and security, and it's about wisdom and eternity and looking at the big picture. And that's also in Pisces. So with these two together here, I think it's like it comes across kind of as these older wise men who are like pointing their fingers and saying, you should know better and be responsible. And that's how I feel this, because the Taurus moon is so energized, right, with all that fire behind it. And it conjuncts the Uranus and Jupiter, so anything is possible, and good luck in the earth sign of Taurus. So that really prompts you to take a risk and to do something outside of the norm and to take action, even if the outcome isn't guaranteed. So I feel that that's almost like that scrutinizing feeling, or that scolding kind of voice of Mars and Saturn. I think it's best to hear it, but not to be completely governed by it and to immediately say, oh no, it's too risky, maybe I shouldn't bother. I think it's a good time to actually do things that you wouldn't be able to under normal circumstances. Okay, let's see if there's more detail. We also have Mars in Pisces then. forming a conjunction with Saturn in Pisces. So that's where I got this image of the committee, you know, and all the men with their clipboards about to pass judgment. So with that coming in, Wednesday, it becomes a bit more complicated and you may feel a little unsettled because of the back and forth, right? So there may be a sense of this is what I want to do. And this is what experience has taught me not to pursue anymore. This is what my negative experiences have told me doesn't work and I shouldn't want it anymore. So the question is then, well, if I have a desire, is that there for a reason? And if I keep trying, eventually it'll work? Or is there something to saying, you know, you failed the learner's test 33 times, maybe it's not the right situation for you. And who can tell either way? So it's very difficult to give a blanket kind of judgment one way or the other, because it's going to depend on personal circumstances. But despite that conflict, I think it's really a good day to try something again and to overcome your own reluctance to revisit like a hurdle or a problem that's tripped you up in the past. I think it's a good opportunity to try again. Mercury is in retrograde. You're coming at it from a different angle. You've got all this fiery energy. And I almost feel like Mars and Saturn in Pisces kind of saying no. I almost feel that's, and feel free to disagree with me in the comments, but I almost feel like that's the ego trying to scare you into not pursuing the opportunities that are there for you, disguised as wisdom and like prudence, which is the same thing. Okay, let's see what else. Thursday, the 11th of April, we still have the moon in Taurus. So you see the first 4 days of the week, the moon is in Aries and Taurus, first two signs of the zodiac. So again, the new, taking action, building it, making it happen. The Taurus moon sextiles Neptune in Pisces on Thursday. So that's really the combination of water and earth, and that is creativity and really being able to create beautiful things and to get creative about your circumstances and then to adapt and to make changes so that your circumstances reflect this beautiful inner image. The moon goes into Gemini, 2:59 in the afternoon. So the moon, the way you feel in Gemini, is very optimistic and kind of light-hearted, and it's interested in finding solutions to problems, and anything can be solved, right? And it pays attention and it's able to speak in response. It's very communicative and it's very sharp. It's able to get ideas quickly. The Gemini moon then, so that's going to make you more comfortable expressing yourself and writing things down. And, you know, if, you know, when they say like, oh, I sat and I wrote a chapter and the words just kind of flowed out of me. When the moon is in Gemini, that is very, very likely, more than in any other sign. The Gemini moon then also trines Pluto and Aquarius. So Gemini is air, so is Aquarius. So we've got a ton of ideas floating around now. So the thing you're going to be most interested here in on Thursday is information, ideas, and communication, the exchange of knowledge. And it also sextiles Venus in Aries. So you may be attracted to someone on this day because of their ideas. You may really resonate with something someone is saying. So if, you know, if those are nice moments, if you find that you react to someone similarly, and often you'll have things in common, so pay attention to that if possible. And then also the Sun in Aries conjuncts Mercury in Aries. So Thursday is air and fire, very much. Air and fire are both masculine elements. And masculine and feminine in astrology. The masculine is about creation and building and taking charge on something that's completely new, right? The feminine is about taking something that already is and perfecting it and taking charge of it by seeing the potential in any situation and working to support everything around the self, right? So with everything about being fire and air on Thursday and the moon in Gemini, you may be very willing, or you may even have a huge desire to express yourself. So if you have a tendency to overshare, be aware of that on Thursday. But you know the whole youthful versus experience kind of dynamic. Thursday, I would say, is the most youthful day of the week. it reminds me of the pages in the tarot, you know, the court cards. Page is very inexperienced. Then you've got some experience, but little mastery. And then you have total mastery. And this is very much about, I have a desire to learn. I'm motivated. I'm optimistic. I'm hungry to kind of connect with something and create meaning in my life through that connection. So Thursday is good for handling difficult tasks and making new connections with people. You'll want to go out and to be sociable and to do a lot of talking anyway on Thursday. There's less conflict between this desire between something new versus the kind of inner committee that's still hovering around even on Thursday. But I think you will barely hear it by Thursday. It's all about creating new opportunities and new memories. Friday, the 12th of April, we have the Gemini moon forming a square with Saturn and Mars in Pisces. Wow. So that to me is like now the committee. Sorry, I keep saying the committee, but it's like they get a, what are those? A bullhorn maybe? You know, those loudspeaker things. And something is being kind of spiritually shouted at you on Friday. And it sextiles, the Gemini moon that is, it sextiles Chiron, Mercury, and the Sun in Aries. So I feel if, you know, the higher realms are going to such lengths to really shout a message at you, then Friday is a good time to actually pay attention to that. Chiron, Mercury, and the Sun in Aries, they're all about, hey, listen, I've got a mission and I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this mission. I'm going to move ahead because this is going to be everything that it promises and everything I've dreamed of. Total healing, total satisfaction, complete happiness and joy. And that is interesting because with that kind of momentum, you wouldn't listen to messages. The only thing you would hear with all that fire is if someone shouted. So I think on Friday, it's important to pay attention. So I think this day, if you do any creative writing or if you do journaling, again, make sure you give yourself a bit of time on Friday to do that. Also, if you need to solve a problem or to think something over, then do it on Friday. A new solution is going to pop up for you. And it's a great day for travel, moving, and physical exercise. So if you can try and balance that with this reflection, I really think that there's something about your confidence and your willingness to if you feel like you're out of your depth with certain things, like you just don't understand it, this is not something I'm good at, anything like that, you can revisit on Friday and discover that actually if you sit down and pay attention for a little bit and try and figure out and give yourself time to do that, that actually you can even excel in this area. So you really discover something around yourself here on Friday, but also anything that does require that confidence. So anything that, you know, where you're on camera, where you're being filmed, public speaking, anything where you have to present yourself, that's all very much supported on Friday. Saturday, the 13th of April, we've got the Gemini moon forming a sextile with the Sun in Aries, but so we've got fire and air again, but we've got a square also with Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is the dream, and it's fantasy and romance and everything beautiful that shines, right? The moon also enters Cancer at 7:45 in the evening. So this is now a time much more about the intuition and wanting to feel close to people and wanting to feel loved and connected. The Cancer moon also quincunxes Pluto in Aquarius. So all of those connections are supported, but also if you want to express some sort of loving, nurturing idea, you certainly can, whether that's through food or writing or music or talking. Ultimately, Saturday is this ongoing ability to be really creative and to do fabulous work. And you have the ability to problem solve. So it's air and water. Any solutions that appear on Saturday the 13th that kind of promise to soothe or to make the situation easier and to take the pressure off, those things are worth pursuing. They're likely to pay off. And then finally, on Sunday, the 14th of April, we have the Cancer moon forming a square with Venus and Chiron in Aries. So this is great to do something for yourself, to take care of yourself. So to treat yourself, practice good self-care. And if that's a trip or taking a bath or, you know, lying on the sofa and reading a nice book, whatever it is that pleases you the most is a good idea. And the Cancer moon also trines Saturn and Mars in Pisces. So now it's like a revisit of that voice of something bigger. And I would suspect that on Sunday, you may be like, what was that all about? You know, the thing where you really warned me on Friday. And if you missed anything that's really glaringly obvious, anything where the universe or some sort of inner voice is really trying to tell you some truth. If it didn't kind of click, revisit that on Sunday and say, what are you trying to tell me here? What's so important? And I really think the message ultimately is that you can do things that you've written off in the past as not possible for me. I'm not gifted in that area. And it's a willingness to engage again and to try again. So you see that youthfulness, it's so important. Like if you're learning, or for me anyway, like learning a new language, a thing that was always something that cropped up is making mistakes in that new language. And people would then chuckle and correct you. But just because you're getting things wrong doesn't mean you should stop trying to learn the language. And that's what this youthful optimism gives you this week. So anything where you're willing to put yourself out or to really shift outside of your comfort zone in order to learn something new, this is the week where you have the flexibility and the willingness to extend yourself like that. And as well, you know, the wisdom is important if you're trying to conserve things and if you're trying to maintain a tradition. So it's also useful, but I feel that this week you really lean more towards the new, the youthful, and the fresh start side of things, rather than conserving what already exists. Okay, so each sign of the zodiac, Aries. This week is really an amazing time where you can absolutely enjoy the life that you've built for yourself. The eclipse is happening in your sign of Aries. All of your energy is being pulled into the chart. You're really going to be on cloud 9 here and you're going to feel so motivated. Your outlook is likely to be cheerful and optimistic all week. And it's valid because you have really good results that follow this week. Taurus, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, the moon is in your sign of Taurus. So your relationships in both your working and personal life will really benefit from this. Any actions that seem risky but possibly worthwhile are best taken on those days for you, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. Gemini, the eclipse on Monday, it stimulates you to the point where you may feel like you're leaving the planet. You may feel really wound up, but also this strange kind of elevation may leave you with a sudden clarity that kind of makes you wonder, like, how long have I been asleep for? It's almost like an emergent, like you're coming out of a cloud and you can see perfectly. So it's great for creativity for you, for learning and for decision making. So Gemini, you're ruled by Mercury, the communication planet, and that is in retrograde at the moment. So this really is for you an opportunity to step back from your usual self. Sorry, I thought the camera had stopped recording. But you're able to step back from your usual self and see things in a completely new and fresh way. Cancer. Things are likely to go your way this week, particularly in the area of work. Bring up anything that needs discussing for a favorable outcome, or address anything this week rather than next week. So if it's up in the air and it's not gone one way or the other just yet, have a word about it this week. It's likely to go in your favor. And for you, Mercury retrograde is helpful in that sense, that discussions may have a different outcome than they usually would. Leo, you're going to also excel in work, but also you'll find learning and travel really easy and problem-free this week. Also, anything that requires you to connect with lots of people, groups of people, will also go well. So any job interviews or group work or submissions that you have to make, all of that is going to really feel easy. Virgo, you're going to find that informing yourself this week and kind of rereading information and making sure everything is accurate, that will really help. Again, you're ruled by Mercury, the communication planet, so you may be prone to overlooking inaccuracies this week, so give it a twice over, if that's all, yeah. It's also a great opportunity on the flip side of that to see things from another person's point of view, especially relationships-wise. So, you know, like if you've got a conflict and you don't really know why the other person's upset or you just can't seem to get it, if you look at it again, something may suddenly appear to you and it makes sense. So that then can help you save a relationship. If you suddenly see that, oh, I actually was wrong, I can see why they're a little annoyed with me now, and then you know, communicate that, it can really take the pressure off the relationship and restore it. Libra, expect a really easy and balanced week this week. Both work and family life are really likely to be harmonious and kind of smooth sailing for you. If you can take some time off this week, please do go for it. There's little opportunity for stress or drama for you, Libra. Scorpio, it's all about throwing yourself into work this week and making huge progress in that area of your life. At the same time, expect some good news from a loved one this week and celebrate the occasion if you can. It'll be something that's worth celebrating. Sagittarius, you'll feel really energized this week. Aries eclipse is fire, which is your element. So you have the potential to make massive inroads in work. And there's very little distracting noise for you via finances or family relationships. They're not going to demand much of your attention. So it's all clear for you to focus and to make all of that progress in your work. Capricorn, for you it's a bit complicated. It's a good week to get something off your chest, or even to speak up on a secret or to share something that's making you ill. You know, the kind of thing that just by sitting on it, it makes you sick. So the added energy and different perspective this week, they cause you to approach things differently this week. And instead of work and practicals, you're focused on the more personal side of life. So you can really trust your own observations in that area and what you learn in your relationships this week. Who accepts me, who doesn't? Who judges me, who doesn't? Aquarius, expect some good news as well via friends and family. You're similar to Scorpio, that it's really a good week for you to celebrate good news and to get together with people you care about. Pisces, you can make a lot of progress in business this week. You have a lot of confidence and communication is good for you. Anything that you need to submit or present, try and do it this week if possible. It's almost like you're able to navigate this Mercury retrograde with very little fallout. It's like you're able to navigate the fog very well. Okay, so that's what I get for you this week. I hope it gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you would like a personal reading with me so I can have a look at your birth chart, then please get in touch with me via the website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. And to draw up your birth chart, I just need three things. I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then there's a process called chart rectification. You send me 10 or more significant life events, and then I can actually manually work out the time of birth. And that's important because it makes the chart more accurate. And I always mention that the chart is like a blueprint to the soul. It shows me a great deal. So your vocational aptitudes, your life purpose, your mission, things like relationships, income, spiritual development, friendship, education, and also to see what's coming up in future and how different areas will affect you. I also look at your progress chart, transits, and astrocartography in my personal reading. So if you would like me to have a look at your chart, please do get in touch. Check out the video on the solar eclipse as well. And please have a look at it if you're in North America, because it's going to be this amazing magical moment. Check out some of the other videos that I make on the channel. And I'd also do a daily tarot reading, which I do every day of the year, a daily 3-card spread. So if you'd like to watch that, then please become a member of my channel Be great to have you there. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.